Good morning, class 10 children. Well, today we are starting up with our next chapter, chapter number 9, Heredity and Evolution. In this chapter, we will be covering up the basics of genetics. We'll study about heredity and evolution has been removed by CBS. So, we are going to study about the basics, the foundation of genetics, the father of genetics, Gregor Johann Mendel, how he conducted his experiments, what he concluded from his experiments, and how he decided and explained about the genetics. But before moving on further, a question is there in my mind, children, that if we look at all the human beings, in fact, if you look at your own home, you and your parents are showing number of differences. Am I correct? You are not 100% copy of your parents. You are different to them, although you have some similarities also. But if we look at the bacterias, they are almost similar to their parents. They are almost 99.9% similar to their parents. Now, why this difference is there? So, the answer to that is asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. In the bacteria or some fruits like banana, asexual reproduction takes place, means a single parent is involved. There's no mixing of characters, no mixing of genes. So how the variations will appear? So the differences, they are very minute, very minute, okay, which are almost undetectable in the upcoming generations. That's why all the next generations, they are almost appearing, if we observe them phenotypically, physically, they are almost similar to their parents in asexual reproduction. But in our case, since sexual reproduction takes place, so what happens? Since two parents are involved, two different characters and genes are involved, their mixing takes place, and ultimately the resultant has some similarities with the parents and some differences, which results in the process of variation. And it is this variation which is very useful for the the genetics, the concept of genetics and heredity and evolution also. Moving on further, why these variations are so important, क्यों होनी चाहिए ये? These variations, like in among us, we homo sapiens, we are also, each and every individual is different from each other almost. Why these differences are required? Because it makes the raw material for evolution. What is evolution? A gradual change, slow change in a species, जो हमें पता नहीं चलता है, but वो millions of years के बाद species में एक change आ जाता है. ठीक है. सो वो जो एवोल्यूशन का बेस है, दैट इज वेरिएशन. वेरिएशंस विल बी देयर, येस, एवोल्यूशन विल बी देयर, न्यू स्पीशीज विल बी फॉर्म्ड, एंड येस, these variations will help you to adapt with the changing environment. So that is why they are very important. So to study the concept of genetics means heredity and variation. Who is responsible for genetics? It is heredity and variation. We need to know more about heredity and variation. So first of all, what is genetics? Children, genetics is very simple, the study of two things. What? Heredity and variation. Now you need to remember what is heredity actually, and who's the father of genetics? Gregor Johann Mendel. Heredity is like, please imagine yourself and your parents. So whatever are the characters which have been transferred from your parents into you, that is the heredity. And जो differences आए हैं आप में और आपके parents में, that is the variation. So this heredity, transfer of the characters from the parents to the offspring, in combination with the variations, forms genetics. So while studying this genetics, there are some traits which are almost same to your parents. दे आर द इनहेरिटेड ट्रेट्स. जो डिट्टो आपने वैसे की वैसे ही अपने पेरेंट्स से ले ली. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, सम ऑफ यू कैन रोल योर टंग बट सम कैन नॉट. प्लीज डू दिस एक्सरसाइज. Some of the children or some of the human beings, they have their free earlobe and some have attached. So these are the inherited traits taken up from the parents. Rest of the traits will be different from the parents. Please understand this carefully, study it.